started here. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. You know when Father's Day started? It was started by a woman in Tacoma, Washington. Her name was Sonora Smart Dodd. She was listening to a Mother's Day sermon in 1909. And she had been raised by her dad after her mother passed away. And she thought, there ought to be something to honor dads. So she came up with Father's Day. And her father was born in June. So therefore we celebrate it in June. And she set aside the 19th was the first. June 19th was the first Father's Day celebrated in 1910, almost over 100 years ago. And it became the official in 1924 as the third Sunday of June by Coolidge, President Coolidge declared that as Father's Day. Did y'all know any of that information? This is good stuff. And June 19th is a very important day, not only because it's Father's Day, that happens to be my birthday. So, and I'm going to tell you, there's only 3 shopping days left. I don't want to think about it. Anyway, so June 19th, and I was actually born on Father's Day, June 19th, 1960. Last time I saw my father live, Father's Day, 1986. So Father's Day has a lot of special meanings to folks. And we do celebrate dads. They're the most unappreciated, unsung heroes that we have. Let me prove my point. Dads go out and spend countless hours on football, basketball courts, baseball fields with their sons. Their sons persevere and through talent and efforts make the big leagues. Hit the winning home run. Score the winning touchdown. Hit that shot at the buzzer. And get their moment on national TV. And what do they say? Hi, Mom. No credit. Just no respect of it. Someone once asked the boy, he said, you know what the difference, what Father's Day is? He said, yeah, it's just like Mother's Day, except you spend less on the gift. That's all it is. And but we do recognize that it is Father's Day. And we do celebrate our dads. For me, it's a threefold thing. I celebrate being a dad. I have 2 lovely daughters and a stepson and a grandson, so I celebrate being a dad. And I also celebrate my dad who passed some years ago. But I also celebrate my God, who, and in a parental way, guides us through life. So it's kind of threefold for me. Fatherhood is a great thing. It has great memories for me. I can remember my youngest daughter, Ashton, curls dangling down and bow-legged because her legs were so long and she had learned to walk so early that her legs weren't strong enough to develop, so they kind of really worried us for a while. Had bowed some, and she'd just come running up and greet you at the door and give you a hug. Man, that's good stuff. Or come and sit with you to watch TV, not because they wanted anything, except spend time with you. That's good stuff right there. That's good stuff. Countless hours on the softball field, I can remember. Good days. Sometimes we won, sometimes we lost, but they're always good days. Driving 5 hours so my daughter could try on gowns. And driving 5 hours back home on my weekend. That was good stuff. It's when me and Pam met, and I think something about the color of a dress or something came up, and I said, that's solid. Because the fact that you know that worries me. But I spent so much time with my daughter and her gowns and stuff. That's good stuff. Those are memories you can't get back. Those things that stick with you. I remember my daughter being asked at a pageant one time when she was young, she was about 11, who do you want to be when you grow up? And all the other girls, they all got the same question. I want to be president, or I want to be senator, or I want to be superwoman, or they came up with something. And my daughter said she wanted to be her dad. That's good stuff. I remember playing in the pool with Silas, dart games, building forts, shooting darts at each other, teaching him how to shoot that perfect jump shot. Yep. I remember those things. Those are good things. They fill your life. But dads, We got more to do than just play with our kids. We're charged with a very special responsibility. We're charged with the responsibility of teaching our kids right from wrong. Right? It's not all just a plaything. We can't just be their playmates. We got to be their dads too. We got to teach them right from wrong. Christian values. What it means to walk in faith. That's what we're called to do as parents. That's what we're called to do as parents. I remember this young man. Let me say that first, that the greatest gift you can give a child is to be reflective of God's love. As a parent. That's the best thing you can do for a child. Is to be reflective of God's love. You know, I'm reminded of a story of a young man who cried out in the middle of the night because he was scared of thunderstorms. He said, "Dad, I'm scared. Come here and take care of me." He said, "God loves you, son, and He'll take care of you." He said, "I know God loves me, but right now I need a God with some skin on." And how true is that? We look up to our dads. You know, if I was starting a family all over again, the one thing I would pray for is that I could be God's love in skin. So I think that's the most important thing you can do. I really do. So how do we get to be those type of parents? Or are we those type of parents? I don't think it's by spending 70 hours a week at work, even though it's good intention. We'll make money, find things, give them things we didn't have. Good intentions, but I don't really think that's what kids want today. I know it's not what I want. And my most cherished moments with my dad is not the things that he was able to give me or not give me. Time spent. Time spent on the basketball court. Time spent going for a walk. Time spent when he would come and watch me play sports. He made an effort to be a part of my life. Time spent. It's a great gift. Being God's reflection of love is a great gift. These are all things you can give your children. See, because being a great father is about what you can do for me. It's about what I can do for you. It's my children. Right? We don't do it because we have to. We do it because we get to. We're privileged. We get to. It's a privilege. So how do we get to be those men and women of faith? Because what I say to the men, I say to the women, just like on Mother's Day, what I say to the women, I say to the men, the same thing. How do we get to be those people? How do we get to be teachers of the faith? Well, today we're going to look at someone, Abraham, father of many nations. I would sing the song, Father Abraham and Many Sons, but you didn't know the song last week. That was ours. So I'm afraid you wouldn't know it. It'd just be making a fool of myself anyway. But how do we get to be those people? Abraham. We know the story from childhood, but let's look at it from an adult version. What does he offer us? Well, first thing I can tell you is Abraham was a man on a mission. You ever know anybody who's on a mission? You ever heard that? Get out of their way, they're on a mission. Why do you say get out of the way? No holds barred, right? When someone's on a mission, there's nothing going to get in their way. It don't matter if they have to step on you, around you, over you. It doesn't matter. They're going to get where they want to be. Right? And they're on a mission. Abraham was a man on a mission. He has his eye on the goal, the very end. He wasn't looking at the obstacles. He wasn't looking at what he had to do. I remember running track for years. I ran hurdles, high hurdles. And I can tell you, you don't run high hurdles by looking at the hurdle. You run high hurdles by looking at the finish line. The hurdles are just something you have to get over to get to that finish line. And sure, you're going to hit your knee sometimes, but you know the routine. It's 3 steps hurdle, 3 steps hurdle, 3 steps hurdle, 3 steps hurdle, all the way down. I mean, it's a routine, and you go as fast as you can. What I'm saying is that you may hit your knee on the hurdle, knock it over. Sometimes it might trip you, but you're looking at the finish line. That's what Abraham was doing. He was looking at the finish line. He wasn't worried about the obstacles. God told him what? He said, leave your family. Leave your friends, leave the security that you know as your life. Leave everything you know to be. Leave it. And go to this land, Canaan. What? Seriously? Leave everything I know? Everybody I know? Leave your family? That was your protection. Your support group. Leave all that? Leave my friends? I gotta leave my cell phone here? I can't take no Facebook? Nothing? No. I mean, leave everything he knew and go to a strange land? Wow. That takes some faith. That's a little bit of a step, wouldn't you say? Leave everything. Think about everything you own, everything you know. We're going to leave that. That's the path. We're just going to leave that. Come on. We're just going to take you somewhere else. We're going to be somebody else. We're going to do something else. That takes some faith. That takes a lot of faith. That takes buckets of faith. A lot of faith. But he went. He didn't hesitate, didn't try to make a deal. He just went. He left everything behind, went forward. He was a man on a mission. Right? But God didn't just say, go. God made some promises to him as well. He promised him a great inheritance. He promised him a great blessing. He promised him to be a blessing. He promised him a great alliance. He promised him a great name. He made some promises to him too. And looking back, he said, well, that's not a bad deal. Greatness. You know, how many people want to be famous? I don't know if Abraham went to be famous, but you know, people today want to be famous. They do crazy stuff on TV to be famous. Everybody wants to be famous. But great name. But it hadn't changed that much. God makes a pact with you as well. Doesn't he? When he calls you into a relationship with him, right? He makes you a promise to a great inheritance, eternity spent in heaven, in God's presence. That's a pretty good inheritance. Right? A great blessing. Is there really a greater blessing than God's grace? Wow. Should I forgive everything I've ever done? I don't deserve that. What a blessing. To be a blessing. You know, every time we act as a Christian, and we go out and display the love of our Savior, we're a blessing to somebody. When you do acts of kindness, you're a blessing to somebody. An alliance, God promises to be with you every step of the way. That's an alliance you can count on. That's an alliance you can be sure of. Give us a new name. Christian. Is there really anything better you can be called? I hope people call me that. I hope they accuse me of that. That's one of them Christians. That's me. I hope that's what they call me. Is there really anything better? So you see the deals is kind of the same. But would we have that kind of faith? Abraham was a man on a mission. He stepped on into the black abyss because he knew his step was there. He knew it by his faith. Not because he could see it, not because he could feel it or hear it or touch it. He knew it was there. It takes a lot of faith to step into the blackness when you don't know what's there, doesn't it? Do you have that kind of faith? Are you willing to step off? Tough question. But he was a man on a mission. He was going to do whatever it took to follow God. Are we people on a mission? Something to reflect. Same thing we notice about Abraham in Genesis. He was a man of worship. Wherever he put a tent, he put an altar. You read through Genesis, you find that he was always erecting altars to worship God, to make sacrifice. Worship was important to him. He knew the value of atoning for his sins and making a sacrifice to God that would be pleasing to God. Now, that had to be something new in this area of Canaan that he went to, if not the first, probably one of the first to be going through this ritual. He didn't care. Because he was on a mission. He had faith. He knew the importance of his relationship with God. It was important to him. Now, as we're on a mission, what happens? Who comes first? Whatever's the mission. God, relationship with God was his mission. Okay. So he worshiped. Do we worship? Is worship important to us? You go out to eat, do you pray there just like you pray at home? Thank you food, or are you afraid what people might think? Do you talk about your faith openly, or are you afraid people might call you one of those Jesus fanatics? What a terrible thing to do. Right? Do we? Are we afraid to worship? Everywhere we go, wherever we are we afraid to let that light shine that's within us? Abraham was a man of worship. He showed his children that it was important to worship. Lastly, he was a man of faith. And that's probably what he's known best. I wish we spent more time imitating his faith than talking about it. I wish we'd understand that what we live for is we live for Christ. And we live to worship for God. It was so amazing. The things that we do every day should exemplify our devotion to God, to our Savior. I'm reminded of a story of a man who was scrubbing the floor, or scrubbing the steps of a New York courthouse. A man came up to him and said, "Willie, are you? I thought you were a child of God." He said, "I am a child. I thought you were a prince." He said, "I am. A prince in God's kingdom." He said, "So you're a prince in God's kingdom?" He said, "Yet you're down here scrubbing these floors, these steps. Don't you think that's a little humiliating for a prince to be down here scrubbing these floors, scrubbing these steps? If you're a prince?" He said, "No, I don't find any humiliation in it at all." He said, "Because I don't scrub these steps for my boss, Mr. Brown." He said, "I scrub these steps for my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ." Everything about him was about the mission, about serving his Lord and Savior. And that's how we need to be. That's the kind of people we need to be. You know, there's a young boy, and his father overheard him praying. And the young boy prayed, "Dear God, make me a man like my father." And later on that night, you could hear the father praying, "Dear God, make me the man that my son thinks I am." How many of us are the men that our children think we are? How many of us exemplify that walk every day? Maybe you do, and if you do, congratulations. I applaud you. But if you don't, perhaps it's time for a little self-reflection. You see, these characteristics, being on a mission, serving God, being men of faith, wanting to worship, they're more than just things we need to reflect on. They're things we need to act on. We need to be those people. Just like Abraham. We're called to be those people. We're called to come out of our comfort zone, no matter where that is. It's easy to sit in your comfort zone, but it gets harder when you have to go. And that's what we're called to do. Step out of your comfort zone. Because you know why God brings you out of your comfort zone? Because you have to rely on Him. When you get out of your comfort zone, when you get out of what's comfortable for you, you have to put your ego aside. You have to put your pride aside because it's no longer a fact. You're no longer, it's easy for me to do some things. I could be out on a basketball court all day and I'd be just as prideful about how great I am. But you take me off that, no, not anymore. I used to be, not anymore. But you take me out of that zone, I'm not as comfortable. I'll talk a lot of junk out there and play and shoot, and I'm very comfortable. But you take me off that court, I'm not as comfortable. You put me in front of a church full of people and ask me to preach a sermon, I'm not comfortable. I got to rely on Jesus Christ. He took me out of my comfort zone. If you only knew 20 years ago, if you only knew how I had to stuff through a sentence, how I sweated, how I would become nauseated at the thought of getting in front of people and speak. And you would know that God can take ordinary people, not perfect people, not even semi-perfect people, just ordinary people like you and me, and He can do wonderful, wonderful things through them. And He can use them to spread His news. Don't tell me you're too old. Sarah said the same thing. She laughed. Too old to have children. She wasn't too old to have children. You're not too old to do God's work. Or too young. It doesn't matter if you're 2 or 102. God's got something for you to do. You just need to seek Him with a mission. Let us pray.